Okay, anything else you want?
Make his knuckles bleed.
Hey, I like that! Oh, I like that, Johnny! I'm gonna use that!
Yes, it's over the top, but there's a reason for it. And you start to see, like, why is this guy the way that he is?
Cobra Kai. Say it! Cobra Kai.
Never dies.
Bet your ass.
And the crazy, so like for us, it's fun to enjoy that. And then it's like, well, when we're bringing him back in the show, the thing is like, now we're writing him, right? And so now it becomes something where, like I have to believe this, and it's tricky because, I sometimes compare what we do on the show to like kind of, or something like, what we're doing with Terry is similar to what Chris Nolan did with Batman. You have something that's kind of far-fetched and you have to, the exercise is how do you make this feel real while keeping what fans like about it? And like, I always thought like in Batman Begins, it's like, he's like, well, why would someone pick a bat? Why would that, it's like all these things were just done in a way that's like, okay, I could see that. It's like, you want to instill fear in the other. I remember there's something that's like, we need something elemental, and like the figure of a bat, like all that stuff. What that is just like, it's a grounded, it's just trying to figure out as much realism as possible to something that could be cartoony. And so that's what we had to do, with Terry. And like, we have these scenes and I'm like, had to, like an actor, think about like, well, what was it like? Because it's easy to say he's crazy, right? But when it's tough to write crazy. It's tough to be like, write a schizophrenic character, is really difficult, and because there's no rhyme or reason to it, and then as the story, you need to have a set, a place that you're going, at least, So I guess like, we had to like go back in the movie and think, why is he doing these things? What is that? And how can I relate to this guy in real life? How do I believe that this is, because I don't, it's not a Bond villain. Like, why is he doing this? And our answer was essentially, it's Kreese, but why, what is that? You go into it and it's like, well, the seeds are there with Vietnam. So we're like, what? Maybe there's PTSD there. Maybe there's, he's also rich. And, a lot of times, when it comes to Vietnam and stuff, there's like, I knew of like, or I've heard in stories and in history, like these kind of super wealthy, millionaires in the 50s and 60s that sent their kids off to Vietnam, thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like World War II. And, we've hinted at in Cobra Kai, like, a little bit of some sort of a relationship, with Terry and his dad, but like we imagine that there's, he's got his own kind of Bruce Wayne backstory with a rich family that's, like he's going to Vietnam to have to live in a shadow or prove himself, and then ends up in the most traumatic, experience possible, and only comes out of it because of this one person. So his whole life is, he's alive because of John Kreese, and also with that is like how they cope is with this philosophy of Cobra Kai. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm getting into that now. Now that's like bringing real world stuff into it. And now when I watch Karate Kid 3, it's like, I buy into, hey, you know what? This philosophy, this worldview made it where Terry could just thrive and just be like next level and just constantly want more and more and more and more and more. Another thing, when writing the character and thinking about like bringing a realism to it was like who is Terry as an archetype? We use like Gordon Gekko in Wall Street or Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, all slick back, all like 80s corporate evil, but like so he's of an era, and that era of like that Vietnam kid that came out and is just like, screw it, I'm taking over the world. And so having this like life commitment to this one guy, was that then I understood, okay, you know what? Like somebody destroyed my friend's reputation, and maybe he didn't get the full story, you hear Crease's version of the event, so it's like I into like, let's, and also the other thing was cocaine, right? So I was like, that helps add to like, maybe why somebody would break into someone's house and hide in a chimney.
I'm so glad you said it.
It's like that. Why realistically would someone hide in a chimney? And when you think about like the people in real life who hide in chimneys, usually drugs are involved. And when you talk about the 80s and all that, so it's like we combine all these things, like a backstory with the family, the Vietnam trauma, this lifelong friend of Crease, and a little bit of cocaine sprinkled on. And, for us, that made us understand who he was. Now, when I watch and we, believe me, all those choices, it was important to us that they didn't undermine anything that was in Karate Kid 3. Like, you go back and it's not like, well, wait, this doesn't make sense that he'd be on cocaine here. Wait, no, it does actually. And almost every scene. So it's like I said, that was our exercise, and it allowed us to kind of, in the present day, write this character who had that past and now trying to, start things new today.